I'm Dr. Mercola. I started Mercola.com, a website, about 11 years ago now, and the intention of the website was to provide information. The mission, which is to provide people with education, information, and resources so we can change the whole paradigm that is killing hundreds of thousands of people every year because they don't have access to the truth. Well, I think it's well accepted even with the traditional conventional medical community that there's a strong connection between emotions and health. Even the conservative CDC, the Center for Disease Control, says that there's an emotional connection with about 85% of all physical illnesses. So I think people know that. What they don't fully understand is that the solution for that isn't necessarily a drug. And I think that's the typical model that the pharmaceutical industry has put onto our whole culture and really kind of brainwash the medical community with. So the solution for this emotional connection or distress that produces this physical problem tends to be Prozac or some type of counseling, traditional counseling, which is very rarely effective. No, I think EFT is very safe. It's almost impossible to hurt someone with it, so there's a little danger. The only danger really is to give someone misinformation and miscommunicate the potential that it has, and to give someone the impression that this in 2 minutes you're going to be skilled at this, and as a result then using the tool, not getting success, and then abandoning it, which is really the danger, because it really needs to be understood how powerful and profoundly effective this technique is, and if you abandon it because you don't understand that it was used improperly or incorrectly or not by someone who's skilled, then that's the danger. But there's no danger other than it not working. I do. I think it's an amazing resource tool, and it should be in everyone's first aid kit. And I definitely would encourage everyone to learn it, and it's necessary and important. And I think it's really useful in that format to help people achieve their goals. But it does require a little deeper understanding as to what typically blocks you from achieving your goals, which is usually some type of belief that was instilled by a parent or a teacher or a preacher, and that is given you this block to fulfilling that goal. So if you can have the insights to understand where that block is, great. If not, then certainly getting a consultant to help you understand where that is. But if you understand and you can tap on it, or just even positive affirmations to achieving what it's amazingly powerful, and I think everyone should be doing it. And most people really aren't, I mean, they may have goals in their mind, but it's very few people actually write them down. And once you write them down, you regularly review it, and I say at least monthly, all your goals, and you can apply EFT with that. It's profoundly powerful. I mean, it is just manifested literally miracles in my own life. So. Well, it's basically it's a simple component of EFT where you state the belief that you'd like in the present tense, not like I will have a great marriage or a great relationship. So you state it in present tense, and then in as much specific detail as possible, with as much emotion and passion and enthusiasm and vivid mental imagery, with as many other sensory inputs as you can, sounds and sights and smells. So the more of those details you include into the picture and you tap on it with passion, the more likely it's going to be manifested. Let me just add another component to this, and that is that so you say it like I mentioned it, or you do that process, but then you also acknowledge, this is a key part, the negative disbeliefs that you have. So even though I don't feel I can do this, or you acknowledge that, and then you say the positive. So it's combining both of those, and not trying to deceive or fool your brain, but just saying that, and that combination, I think, tapping on those points is just profound. This is a classic example that nearly everyone has a challenge with. That is their income level. So a typical one is that typically this is a good example for a number of reasons, because one, it demonstrates another principle when you're achieving your goals, and they have to be, it's still the same principle, classic measurements, which is the SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, attainable, and realistic. and then T, which is time oriented. So if you say that you're going to make, I'm going to make $1 million this year, well, if you're only making $50,000, it's too big of a jump. So you typically want to go up in levels of 200 or 300%. So you would say that, and believe yourself and see yourself, imagine yourself doing everything like it would be to earn that income level. And then you would tap along those ways. And I'll tell you, it really does work. It's been, in my own life personally, it's been phenomenal. And in fact, my 5-year income levels have been materialized literally within a year, to the point where it's almost magical. It really is. And once you are able to understand what's blocking it and get rid of those, because that's even the more powerful way to block the negative disbeliefs from having you achieve it, then you're really able to manifest that in your own life. My first exposure to EFT was through a woman who helped me get over the negative TFT, or the thought field therapy precursor I had to this, and it was related to a personal relationship. And I asked her, explaining to me that I was having challenges finding a relationship, and then she very insightfully and intuitively understood that my challenge was not deserving, which apparently is a real big problem in this area. So once I started tapping on that specific issue of not deserving, then literally within 1 week, this most amazing relationship happened, which before I wasn't happening for years. So to me, that was pretty remarkable, personally. I haven't seen patients for about 2 years, and we have lots of dramatic examples, but generally my impression is that it's almost every severe autoimmune disease, which are some of the most crippling, disabling conditions that humans encounter, things like multiple sclerosis or rheumatoid arthritis or other severe autoimmune diseases, there's almost always some predisposing emotional distress that occurred prior to the age of 5. I've sort of independently determined this and realized this, but then after I realized it, there's a lot of other people who come to the same conclusion. I realized I had a lot of other independent support. So my observation is that unless we're able to address that initial predisposing emotional assault, that patient, that person just really does not improve. So, and we routinely, once we do that and combine it with our comprehensive lifestyle program, we just see these people coming, their whole lives turning around, and debilitating, crippling arthritis. Now, with a person with rheumatoid arthritis, their joint deformities don't disappear, but their progression, which has usually been quite steady and on a path towards terminal in many cases, does stop, and their pain disappears, and they're able to lead a normal life with accommodating for the joint deformities. Actually, I don't really have great explanations for it. Truthfully, it's just a miracle of the human body, and I'm not sure. The closest person I know that would probably provide a really great explanation would be Bruce Lipton, but even it's just a guess. I don't think anyone scientifically figured it out. It's just the most astonishing, most remarkable observation that something could switch this quickly. My guess probably is like Bruce is saying, is that there is some type of manipulation or emotional influence of the genetic expression of genes that is going on. They can instantly switch it on or off. The challenge, though, sometimes, I think it's even beyond that. I think it's a physics, it's an energetic component that we don't really truly understand, because the shift is so instant in some cases and so dramatic and so remarkable. I can't even see genetic manipulation working this fast, because it would take some time. It's like swallowing a pill. It's going to take some time to affect. But this is nearly instantaneous most of the time. It's just shocking. And I don't have an answer for it. I just am grateful that it exists. Well, the question asking people cure cancer or diabetes with EFT is somewhat of a challenging question, because it presupposes a few things, and then those diseases are so variable that there's a lot of specifics that are required. But first of all, I think it's important to understand that the EFT doesn't cure anything. There's nothing that cures anything except for your own body, which has the EFT is like a key. It goes in there and unlocks your body's own intrinsic ability to heal. So EFT or an EFT therapist does it, or even you don't heal it. It's the universal intelligence, this God force, this spirit within us that does it. It's just activated by EFT. So that's a key. Now, with respect to cancer or diabetes, many of the challenges or the factors that contribute to disease are lifestyle changes. So if you can use EFT as a tool and a resource to help you change your lifestyle, like stop smoking or start exercising or stop eating foods that are bad for you and help you reduce your weight. So if you implement those, that the lifestyle changes alone will help. So it has an indirect way of doing it. But then, of course, it can do direct ways if you get rid of the emotional component. So usually it's never, it's real uncommon for it, EFT by itself to be work, unless there's a specific emotional thing. But if it's a severe chronic illness, there's almost a number of factors and variables that enter into the equation. So it's unwise just to rely on simply using EFT, just treat the emotional conditions, but using it to help you change the lifestyle would be very helpful. Yeah, it's a real simple one. I've actually personally benefited from the types of therapies that allow you to see as you improve vision as you age. Because typically in the mid-40s or so, most of us have a decrease in our visual acuity to the point where we need to wear reading glasses in dark situations or for small print. And that was very frustrating because I lead a very healthy lifestyle, and I'm supposed to be this icon or leader of health, and to have to wear glasses was very embarrassing. So I've found a system to help me do that, but a central part of that system involved relaxation, not strengthening your eyes, not making them stronger, but actually helping them relax. So EFT is one of the most profound and useful tools to help that relaxation occur. So, and there's a lot of little fine subtleties in actually implementing it, but EFT is a very useful strategy. Well, that's the way EFT does work on an emotional, but certainly that's the way its effects are manifested is through the physical system. So that once you address the underlying emotional contributions, then physical changes occur. So in the case of decreased vision as you age, typically it's muscles that are in spasm around your eyes and causing it to go out of focus. And then once you start to relax that and engage those forces to start to normalize, then your vision starts to improve and you can start to see again without reading glasses, which is profoundly useful. Well, I think the best advice would be to just hold your skepticism and just believe, that it works, because it's just a general principle in life, and I think the video "The Secret" is a good example of expanding on that principle. Is that if whatever you believe and consistently focus and put your intention on, you tend to manifest in your life. So if you're going and starting your experience and believing that this is a bunch of hogwash, it isn't going to work, well, guess what? That's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it won't work because you get what you think. So if you can somehow just abandon your disbelief temporarily and give it a chance, I mean, it's the most amazing thing you'll ever encounter. Well, it's a complex question, and I think it's more related to the understanding and recognition. I think more and more people are becoming aware of this, that we're essentially being brainwashed by the media, and they control many of our views on things. And once we believe something because we've been told by experts, it's difficult to overcome that. But the important concept to understand is that many of these experts have been manipulated by forces and influences that really we're not aware of. And because of that, they create this disbelief. So it's just understanding that you may have beliefs and due to factors and forces that you're unaware of. So if you can just be open, that's the key thing, just to be open to the possibilities, you will be very surprised at what can happen. And I think the more people we can raise their consciousness to understand that that's a possibility, the better we're going to be. Oh, we introduced it from day one, and in fact, even pre-day one, we have this as a requirement to be accepted as a patient, that you have to be open to this tool. And about the only exceptions we make are someone who might be an advanced EFT therapist or seen a skilled therapist, and then they make that exclusion. But if I don't care if a person's been in psychotherapy for 25 years, they still need to have initial consultations with our EFT therapist until we're convinced that that's not an issue. But it's even before day one they start. EFT does two purposes. One is to help people commit themselves to those lifestyle changes, so that we can address the emotional challenges they have that block them from achieving that goal. And then one is to address the direct emotional traumas they've had that are actually causing physiological changes in their body in the wrong direction. So once we remove those barriers, then the body is allowed to heal the way it was designed to. Well, I can comment on hypnosis and EFT, but it's important to understand that I'm certainly not skilled or trained in hypnosis, so it's only at best a guess. I think that they are complementary, and I do know many clinicians who use both of them, especially certain types of hypnosis. So to the best of my understanding, there's no contraindication using both of them that's concurrently. Yeah, I know what you mean. The challenge with it is that how EFT works relative to talk therapy is that or why does EFT work? I don't know the specific reasons why, other than it's tapping on these meridians and it's this powerful positive affirmations in conjunction with acknowledging the negative components. It's the proof is in the pudding. You can talk all you want, or you can EFT, and you will see very clearly that there's a dramatic, massive difference between the two. So, yeah, talk therapy might feel good, but it's not going to resolve people's challenges like phobias and physical dysfunctions like EFT would.